My holiness blesses the world. 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 My holiness blesses Spiro Lake. Find me. My holiness blesses you, my friend. My holiness blesses the world. My holiness blesses the world. Your holiness blesses the world. Your holiness blesses me. My holiness blesses the world. My holiness blesses the world. My holiness blesses the world. Well, thank you all so much for joining me today and studying A Course in Miracles. We're ready for lesson 37. We're reading from the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles this year. And we're ready for lesson 37 here for Thursday, February the 6th of 2025. And it's Monday prior to that Thursday that I'm recording here on Spiro Lake. Thank you for joining me. My holiness blesses the world. This idea contains the first glimmerings of your true function in the world, or why you are here. This idea contains the first glimmerings of your true function in the world, or why you are here. My holiness blesses the world. That's why I'm here? Okay, I got it. Your purpose is to see the world through your own holiness. Thus are you and the world blessed together. No one loses. Nothing is taken away from anyone. Everyone gains through your holy vision. It signifies the end of sacrifice because it offers everyone his full due. And he is entitled to everything because it is his birthright as a son of God. Wow. The end of sacrifice, because we realize we have everything. We don't need to demand anyone to give us anything. We'll learn more about that in our text reading today. But you know, when your holiness is the proof, or your identity as an heir of God, and you have everything as an heir. So you don't need to make anyone give you anything unless they want to, because that's the way that it always works in creation, in reality. Paragraph 2, there is no other way in which the idea of sacrifice can be removed from the world's thinking. Any other way of seeing will inevitably demand payment of someone or something. As a result, the perceiver will lose, nor will he have any idea why he is losing. Yet is his wholeness restored to his awareness through your vision. Your holiness blesses him by asking nothing of him. Your holiness blesses your brother and sister by asking nothing of him, because you know that the only thing you ever want him to give you is what he wants to give. That's you want his to have that freedom. Those who see themselves as whole make no demands. I don't need you to be any way other than the way you want to be. I make no demands because I know that I'm whole. So, and look, he's using the word whole there. Could be a good example of, or a good, the word holiness sometimes gets us a little tripped up. Those who see themselves as whole make no demands. And he's saying this in the lesson about my holiness blesses the world. So you can safely gather from that your wholeness is your holiness. The fact that you're integrated with everything in creation perfectly as God created it. This is reality. Your holiness is the salvation of the world. It lets you teach the world that it is one with you, not by preaching to it, not by telling it anything, but merely by your quiet recognition that in your holiness are all things blessed along with you. Your quiet recognition that in your holiness are all things blessed along with you. Today's 4 longer practice periods or exercise periods, today's 4 longer exercise periods, each to involve 3 to 5 minutes of practice, begin with the repetition of the idea for today, followed by a minute or so of looking about you as you apply the idea to whatever you see. So you start by saying, my holiness blesses the world, and then you look around yourself for about a minute and say, my holiness blesses this lake. My holiness blesses the grasses on the side of the bank. My holiness blesses this screen. My holiness blesses this chair. My holiness blesses that window. My holiness blesses this body. Then close your eyes and apply the idea to any person who occurs to you using his name or her name and saying, my holiness blesses you, and whoever you're thinking about, insert their name. You may continue the practice period with your eyes closed, or you may open your eyes again and apply the idea for today to your outer world if you so desire. You may alternate between applying the idea to what you see around you and to those who are in your thoughts, or you may use any combination of these 2 phases of application that you prefer. The practice period should conclude with the repetition of the idea with your eyes closed, and then another following immediately with your eyes open. So after you've done that, bringing up the memory of whoever you're thinking about and saying, my holiness blesses you, and name the person, or open your eyes and look around during the next main part of your exercise period and say, my holiness blesses whatever you see. Or you don't have to do that again. You can do it just once at the beginning and keep your eyes closed and what I do is I do it kind of like a prayer. Once you think of one person, then you'll think of the other people that are associated with that person, like their parents or their children, and then you'll think of other people, and you'll think of the people associated with them, and you'll probably have quite a list of people that you'll be wanting to bless, which is you basically, then you've been praying for them. And I do it with my guitar a lot of times. My holiness blesses you, and then think about who I'm blessing, whether I'm using my guitar or not. I a lot of times the melody will be in my mind, and I'll just keep it going. Okay, let's see. And then it says, the shorter exercises consist of repeating the idea as often as you can. It is particularly helpful to apply it silently to anyone you meet, using his name as you do so. It is essential to use the idea if anyone seems to cause an adverse reaction in you. Offer him the blessing of your holiness immediately, that you may learn to keep it in your own awareness. Don't want to go unconscious. Don't want to attack anyone. We want to bless everyone. So you can, my holiness blesses you, my friend. You might not want to tell them that when you met. Well, good to meet you. Shake hands. And my holiness is going to bless you. They may not understand, but you can think about it. I mean, there could be certain situations where you'd be the perfect thing. Say, hey, my lesson today is my holiness blesses you, Joe, or whoever you are. Okay, let's go take a look in our text reading, and we'll come back and see if we can't do a little short practice period at the end, or at least get you started so where you can do one of your 3 to 5 minutes. Teaching and healing is Roman numeral 4 in chapter 5, healing and wholeness. Teaching and healing. What fear has hidden still is part of you. Joining the atonement is the only way out of fear. The Holy Spirit will help you reinterpret everything that you perceive as fearful and teach you that only what is loving is true. Truth is beyond your ability to destroy, but entirely within your ability to accept. It belongs to you because as an extension of God, you created it with Him. It is yours because it is part of you, just as you are part of God because He created you. Nothing that is good can be lost because it comes from the Holy Spirit, the voice for creation. Nothing that is not good was ever created, and therefore cannot be protected. The atonement is the guarantee of the safety of the kingdom, and the union of the sonship is its protection. The ego cannot prevail against the kingdom because the sonship is united. In the presence of those who hear the Holy Spirit's call to be as one, the ego fades away and is undone. Paragraph 2. What the ego makes, it keeps to itself, and so it is without strength. Its existence is unshared. The ego's existence is unshared. It does not die. It was merely never born. Physical birth is not a beginning. It is a continuing. Everything that continues has already been born. It will increase as you are willing to return the unhealed part of your mind to the higher part, returning it undivided to creation. I have come to give you the foundation, so your own thoughts can make you really free. You have carried the burden of unshared ideas that are too weak to increase. But having made them, you did not realize how to undo them. You cannot cancel out your past errors alone. They will not disappear from your mind without the atonement, a remedy not of your making. The atonement, or the atonement must be understood as a pure act of sharing. The atonement must be understood as a pure act of sharing. That is what I meant when I said it is possible, even in this world, to listen to one voice. We'll start, and of course this goes really well with our lesson today. We're sharing our holiness, our connection with everything, with our brothers and sisters. That's the sharing. So the atonement must be understood as a pure act of sharing. That is what I meant when I said it is possible, even in this world, to listen to one voice. If you are part of God and the sonship is one, you cannot be limited to the self the ego sees, because it sees itself as separate from the oneness of the whole, our holiness. Paragraph 3. Every loving thought held in any part of the sonship belongs to every part. It is shared because it is loving. Sharing is God's way of creating, and also yours. The ego can keep you in exile from the kingdom, but in the kingdom itself it has no power. So the ego can keep you in exile away from the kingdom, but in the kingdom, the ego is nothing, has no power at all. Again on that sentence, the ego can keep you in exile from the kingdom by your own attack thoughts, but in the kingdom itself, it has no power. The ego has no power. It's not separate. In the kingdom of heaven, we're all interconnected. There's only one of us. That's why, and we speak to each other without any secrets. It's all telepathy. We're all completely in, and it's going on even now, even though as he started off, what fear has hidden still is part of you. That telepathy, that ability to communicate, it's still part of you. It's just hidden because you went unconscious, because you used attack thoughts. But we're learning to undo those and see our holiness in our brothers and sisters. The ego can keep you in exile from the kingdom, but in the kingdom itself it has no power. Ideas of the Spirit do not leave the mind that thinks them, nor can they conflict with each other. However, ideas of the ego can conflict because they occur at different levels and also include opposite thoughts at the same level. It is impossible to share opposing thoughts. It is impossible to share opposing thoughts. You can share only the thoughts that are of God and that He keeps for you, and of such is the kingdom of heaven. The rest remains with you until the Holy Spirit has reinterpreted them in the light of the kingdom, making them too worthy of being shared. When they have been sufficiently purified, He lets you give them away. The decision to share them is their purification. Wow. Paragraph 4. I heard one voice because I understood that I could not atone for myself alone. And we're all in this together. Where I end is not at my skin, even my aura field. It connects to everything that exists. That's what He's trying to get us to see. Love your neighbor as yourself because they are yourself. I heard one voice because I understood that I could not atone for myself alone, said Jesus. Listening to one voice implies the decision to share. Listening to one voice implies the decision to share it in order to hear it yourself. The mind that was in me is still irresistibly drawn to every mind created by God, because God's wholeness is the wholeness of His Son. You cannot be hurt and do not want to show your brother anything except your wholeness. Show him that he cannot hurt you and hold nothing against him, or you hold it against yourself. This is the meaning of turning the other cheek, which is something Jesus said there and recorded in Matthew chapter 5, verse 39. So again on that, you cannot be hurt and do not want to show your brother anything except your wholeness. Show him that he cannot hurt you and hold nothing against him, or you hold it against yourself. This is the meaning of turning the other cheek. Boy, we're invulnerable in God. Let's live it as if we are. In our silent witness that everybody doesn't need to give us anything because we know that it'll come to us automatically if we need it. Paragraph 5. Teaching is done in many ways, above all, by example, above all. Teaching should be healing because it is the sharing of ideas and the recognition that to share ideas is to strengthen them. I cannot forget my need to teach what I have learned, which arose in me because I learned it. I call upon you to teach what you have learned, because by so doing you can depend on it. Make it dependable in my name, because my name is the name of God's Son. What I learned I give you freely, and the mind that was in me rejoices as you choose to hear it. Paragraph 6. The Holy Spirit atones in all of us by undoing, and thus lifts the burden you have placed in your mind. It removes the burden we've placed in our mind, the undoing process. By following Him, you are led back to God where you belong. And how can you find the way except by taking your brother with you? My part in the atonement is not complete until you join it and give it away. As you teach, so shall you learn. I will never leave you or forsake you, because to forsake you would be to forsake myself and God who created me. And that phrase is in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 5. I will never leave you or forsake you. You forsake yourself and God if you forsake any of your brothers. You must learn to see them as they are and understand they belong to God as you do. How could you treat your brother better than by rendering unto God the things that are God's? And there's something Jesus had said in recorded in Matthew chapter 22, verse 21. give unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and give unto God the things that are God's. And Jesus says, how could you treat your brother better than by rendering unto God the things that are God's? Paragraph 7. The atonement gives you the power of a healed mind, but the power to create is of God. Therefore, those who have been forgiven must devote themselves first to healing, because having received the idea of healing, they must give it to hold it. The full power of creation cannot be expressed as long as any of God's ideas is withheld from the kingdom. The joint will of the sonship is the only creator that can create like the Father, because only the complete can think completely, and the thinking of God lacks nothing. Everything you think that is not through the Holy Spirit is lacking. And then our last paragraph to finish this section, 8. So just kind of step back and rest in knowing that whenever you are thinking with God, you're thinking in unison, and there'll never be the need for sacrifice from yourself or anyone. That's how creation extends itself. That's how love extends itself. Okay, last paragraph, 8. How can you who are so holy suffer? All your past except its beauty is gone, and nothing is left but a blessing. Wow, isn't that beautiful to know? How can you who are so holy suffer? Well, let's remember that today when we say, my holiness blesses. And let's be sure to bless anybody that you've had a little tough with, a little difficulty with, somebody that ruffles your feathers. Just even if you just think about them. We want to remove all such thinking from our minds, because that's what made us go unconscious. So we're kind of go back, what fear is hidden still is part of you. Well, let's let it now become a noticeable part of us by not being afraid of our brothers and sisters. Love our neighbor as ourselves. How can you who are so holy suffer? All your past except its beauty is gone, and nothing is left but a blessing. I have saved all your kindnesses and every loving thought you ever had. I have purified them of the errors that hid their light, and kept them for you in their own perfect radiance. They are beyond destruction and beyond guilt. They came from the Holy Spirit within you, and we know what God creates is eternal. You can indeed depart in peace, because I have loved you as I loved myself. You go with my blessing and for my blessing. Hold it and share it, that it may always be ours. I place the peace of God in your heart and in your hands to hold and share. The heart is pure to hold it, and the hands are strong to give it. We cannot lose. My judgment is as strong as the wisdom of God, in whose heart and hands we have our being. His quiet children are his blessed sons. The thoughts of God are with you. So the thoughts of God are with us, so let's be sure to give them to everybody today as we say, my holiness blesses you, whoever you meet or think of. And you can also say, my holiness blesses the world, as you look at everything you see and bless it. Okay, what's going on around the world? It's out of holidays and observances. It's Canadian Maple Syrup Day, the Acer Saccharum. All your maples are good to tap. The ones we have a lot around here, a lot of silver maples planted in yards. They're fast-growing maple tree. It's the Acer Saccharinum. You can tap them. Here's some other plants other trees you can tap. Elms, the ulmuses, like American elm, the Ulmus americana. The hickories, the carias, which would include pecan. Shagbark hickory, the Caria ovata, and the pignut hickory. We've got a lot of them around here. The Caria glabra. The walnuts, black walnuts, and your English walnuts, your black walnuts, or your Juglans nigra. Your sycamores, your plantanuses. Around here we have a lot of American sycamores, the Plantanus occidentalis. And birch trees, you can tap them. Your silver birch. Birches are betulas. Your silver birch is the Betula pendula, and your paper birch, the Betula papyrifera. All those can be tapped for syrup, and it's kind of this time of year when the sap's flowing. Cold nights, warm days. Anyway, Canadian Maple Syrup Day and Sweater Day also in Canada. Wear your sweater when you're doing your tapping. International Day of Zero Tolerance to Female Genital Mutilation. Chopstick Day. Optimists Day. And I consider myself a divine optimist. I mean, why not be an optimistic person when you have God making sure that everything's in harmony? He can rearrange time and space so that it works perfectly for us. Who wouldn't want to be an optimist with that kind of backing? Pay a compliment day, and I want to thank you all again for joining me on this journey. It helps me so much, and I hope it helps you. In fact, you join me, it must help you. So thank you so much for joining me, though. I want to compliment you for doing the lessons daily. It's a compliment straight from Jesus through me to you. Okay, and time to talk day. Always take time to talk. Let's start using talk instead of force to get our ways in the world. Let's step back and realize that we're getting ready to have a new birth on this planet, where we're all going to start realizing that we're all interconnected telepathically. All is one in God. And out of edible landscaping, we've got a Vaccinium coriumbossum, which is a blueberry. First one that they've got listed is the Star Southern Highbush blueberry. Star is a southern highbush blueberry introduced in 1996 from University of Florida. Height 6 to 10 feet, 10 foot in the deep south. Very large fruit with an attractive calyx resembling a star. Excellent quality and very adaptable to soil types. Our sweetest blueberry, resistant to root and leaf diseases and Batriocephalia stem blight. Space 6-foot circles, zone 7 through 9. It does have a plant patent, 10515, so if you're growing them for resale, be aware. Okay, how are we looking on time? I think we have time to do a 3-minute, not quite, but get you started. So let's start with saying, My holiness blesses the world. My holiness blesses the world. Close your eyes one time. My holiness blesses the world. Now open your eyes and look around. My holiness blesses that. Whatever you see. Let's do a few. My holiness blesses that. My holiness blesses that. My holiness blesses that. My holiness blesses that. Now let's close our eyes. My holiness blesses you, whoever you're thinking about. Let's do a few. My holiness blesses you. My holiness blesses you. And name that person. My holiness blesses the world. Okay, you'll have to finish. Take another 2 or 3 minutes and do your 3 to 5 minutes. And until tomorrow, let's use the word for Greek, out of Greek for peace, and it's Eirene. Eirene. Eirene be with you. Peace be with you. Eirene. My holiness blesses the world. Eirene.